Hello friends, welcome to Matlab for Beginners class. In, in the previous class, we tried to look at introduction to Matlab. We also looked at Matlab as a calculator. Today we are going to look at variable definition in Matlab. So now the outline include defining variables. I'll also try to explain the use of who and whose command, and we'll also look at the various display formats in Matlab. So now let's look at variable definition. In the previous class, we were trying to solve an equation in Matlab, and the equation was A is equal to X. When we type this equation in Matlab gave us an error which says undefined variable in Matlab because Matlab did not understand what this variable X means. So now there is a need for us to define the variable. So we define variable by typing a variable name followed by the equal to sign, and then a value or a mathematical expression. So first we write our x, which is equal to, we assign a value to x. So now let's assign a value like pi. So in Matlab, pi is written as pi. So if I type pi in Matlab, Matlab knows that it is pi. So we can terminate the output of this equation by putting a semicolon. Now that we have defined the variable for x, let's move ahead to write our equation. Now our equation is equal to, is a is equal to 2 multiplied by x. Now I believe Matlab will understand this equation. Now let's try and use Matlab to find the solution to this equation. Okay, so our equation was a is equal to 2 multiplied by x. So when we type 2 multiplied by x, it gives us undefined function or variable. So now let's try and assign the variable to x. So x is equal to pi. Now if I don't terminate the output and I press enter, it is going to return the value, and the value is 3.14. So now that we know the value of x, now let's type our equation. So a is now equal to 2 star, or 2 multiplied by pi. And now Matlab has been able to calculate and return an answer for us. Let's also try other examples. So we let's say a is equal to, we can assign any variable. So we can say a is equal to 5. To press enter, it's returning a value. Now we can even say moon is equal to 30 times 5. I press enter, it will return the value for moon. So your variable names can be up to 21 characters long. And it can also contain letters, numbers, and underscores characters. So if your variable is longer than 21 characters, they are mostly truncated. So now let's assign a variable which is, let's say, more than 21 characters. So the moon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shines brightly 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 2 on on every everyone is equal to I. So now let's press enter. The moon, you have seen that it has taken it as a variable. If it is not up to 21, it will not be truncated. So as we saw from the beginning, you can see that you can use variables to perform calculations. So now let's see if I have variables, like if I have an equation like x, I have an equation like x is equal to a plus b divided by c. So in this equation, I have to define the variables for a, for b, for c. So I can start writing my program by saying, let's say my a is equal to 6. I put a semicolon. My b is equal to 3. I put a semicolon. My c is equal to 8. I put a semicolon. Then x, you write the equation x plus x is equal to a plus b plus c. So the moment you press enter, Matlab should be able to give you a value. So now let's try and type this equation in Matlab. So a is equal to 6. Let me terminate it. I press enter. Then b is equal to 3. You press enter. Then it says c is equal to 8. You go on, press enter. Okay, sorry, I type c minus 8. So Matlab said undefined variable c. So c is equal to 8. I press enter. Then my equation is x is equal to a plus b slash c. So if I press enter, Matlab has returned a value for me in Matlab. Okay, so now let's try to, the next thing we are going to look at is the who and whose command. What do we use the who command for, and what do we use the whose command for? So to see the variables currently stored in memory, we use the who command. So now let's go back to Matlab. So now if I type who and I press enter, it's easy. So it has given me the variables which are stored. It says your variables are a is equal to c, b capital A is equal to c, and x. Then we have another a, small a is equal to moon, and b is equal to the moon 1, 2, 3, 7 continues. So now that is the use of who. Now let's look at the use of whose. So if I type whose and I press enter, So the whose command lists the variables stored in memory and the amount of memory used by each variable. So you can see that it has displayed the variables which are stored, the amount of memory which each of them use. Okay, so now um, let's try to um, clear or remove variables from the memory. And let's see. So let's try and remove a variable. So let's say we to remove a variable we use clear. So if I type uh, clear, let's say I'm clearing a, and I press enter, it will clear a and it will clear a from the memory. So now let's type who again and see. So if you type who, you can see that a small a is no longer in the memory. Now let's again use clear b, and I press enter. So if I clear b, I type who. So if I type the who command, you realize that b has been removed from the memory. If I type clear and I don't specify, it will remove all the variables from the memory. So let's press enter. So now let me type who and see. So if you type who and you press enter, you realize that nothing is showing over there because you have cleared all the variables from the workspace. Now, if I want to clear the screen which I am using, I will use the command called CLC. If I type CLC and I press enter, it will erase everything from the command window. So now let's press enter and see. So you realize that now everything has been erased from the command window. So now let's look at the various display format. So you remember that if you are solving math questions or you're solving math questions, to be asked to leave your answers in a particular format or a particular form. So in Matlab 2, you can set up your system to be able to display your answer in a particular format. Now we have a lot of formats. Some of them include, we have the format short. So the format short is usually the default format. We have the format long, which displays the answer in 16 digit. We have the format short e, which displays the answer in 5 digit plus exponent. Then the format long e displays the answer in 16 digit plus exponent. Then we have format hex, which displays your answer in a hexadecimal form. We have the format rat, which displays the answer in a ratio of whole number or fraction. So now let's move to Matlab and see um, um, how we can type this in Matlab. Okay, so now let's use the value pi. So let's say a is equal to pi. But if I press enter, I know it is giving me an answer in 3.1416. That is the default format. If I want to specify the format, so if let's say I want the answer to be in a long format, so I'll type format long. Then the next line I'll say a is equal to I. Now it is giving the answer in a in 16 digits. Now let's specify another format. Let's say format short E. So format short E. Then the next line I would say A is equal to pi. If I press enter, it is giving me the answer in 5 digits plus the exponent. The same thing for the format long. So now let's look at the format hex also. Format hex. So format hex, then A is equal to pi. So if I press enter, it gives me the answer in a hexadecimal form. Now let's try the last one, which is the format rat. Format rat, then A is equal to pi. Let's press enter. It is giving you the answer in a ratio form. So now the last thing we are going to look at is there is a function in Matlab called help. If you want to learn more things about the things which are already in Matlab, if you type help and the name of what you're looking for, Matlab will be able to give you information for you to read. So if I type help format and I press enter, now let's wait a little bit for Matlab. Okay, it is taking some time, but Matlab is going to display information about the various formats available in Matlab. So let's have a recap now about the format, our display format. We said we use the format short to which is the display is a default display format. Then we have the format long, which displays the answer in 16 digits. We have the format short E, which displays the answer in 5 digit plus exponent. We have the format long E, which displays answer in 16 digit plus exponent. We have the format hex, which displays the answer in hexadecimal. And we have the format rat, which displays the answer in a ratio or in a fraction. So now you can see that it took some time, but it has returned some information for me to read about format. So you can see it has given me format short, format long, short E, short chain, long chain, short ink, a lot of them. So depending on what you want to use them for, Matlab will give you those information which you need to work with. So if you want to learn anything about format, you just type help format and Matlab will give you the information you need to read. So in our next video, we are going to look at predefined variables and also look at functions. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next class.